Thank you so much for being here today. This is an incredible opportunity, an incredible experience for me. We are here at the second annual Christian Transhumanist Conference, following up the first Christian Transhumanist Conference last year, which was an incredible experience, which attracted the attention of Wired Magazine, National Geographic, and Christianity Today, brought a documentary team from around the world, and based on conversations that I've had with many people since then, really inspired and empowered a lot of people. So I'm so grateful that you are here to help continue these conversations. So I want to kind of set the stage for what I hope you can expect from this conversation. Last year I said we're here for awkward and uncomfortable conversations, and I'll say that again. I hope that if at some point during the day we make you a little bit uncomfortable, and if we're not doing that, then I think we're probably not doing our job. And so I hope that you've come here today ready to be challenged, open to challenging others, and to allow yourself to learn and potentially simply sit in the tension around some of these conversations. I think when we are open to dialogue, that's what conversation is. When we are open to learning and being challenged, that's what allows us to grow, to develop, to understand ourselves more and what we care about. So there's a second thing that I want to kind of clarify going into this in terms of what you should expect. This is a conversation on science, faith, and the future. And it may be a little bit different than a lot of these kinds of conversations you've had before. Many conversations around science and faith are designed to tell you how to reconcile science and faith so that you no longer feel like it's unreasonable or irrational to believe in God. And for many people, that kind of conversation is really powerful and transformative. But maybe maybe at the end of many of those conversations, many people are left feeling like there's not quite enough there. They need something more. Or maybe you're someone who really is really bought into those conversations, but someone else you know actually doesn't seem to find them compelling or to find them beneficial. And I think there's a real reason for this. So I believe that the question that's facing our world is not so much, does science disprove God? It's actually, does science make faith irrelevant? In an increasingly scientific and technological world of rapid change and complex problems, crises and challenges that we've never faced before as a species, what does faith really have to offer? And so the conversation about whether faith is true or whether it's reasonable gets us part of the way there, but it actually doesn't help us connect it with our lives in the world, because there are a lot of things that are true, there are a lot of things that are reasonable that we don't really care about. And I think this is where a lot of people are. Why should we care? What does a 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 year old faith really have to offer a world of 7+ billion people in an era of rapid technological and scientific change? And I think that the answer, or at least part of the answer, the way we're going to try to approach this is to step out and engage the future. Because I believe that when we engage the future, faith comes alive. And the reason I think this is because when we start to think about the future we're entering into, the way science and technology are transforming who we are, the way we think, the way our physiology, our DNA, our bodies, our minds, our communities, our social interactions work. We're transforming ourselves and the world around us. We're building a different kind of world for us all to live in. And we start to ask real questions. What is my identity? Who am I? What does it mean to be human if we're merging with machines? What kind of world are we building? What kind of future are we creating? And is it a utopia or a dystopia? And when we start to think about those things, we realize that these are questions about identity and purpose and mission and meaning and values and vision. we start to realize that those are actually questions of faith. Those are questions that people of faith have been wrestling with for thousands of years. And I think when we engage those conversations around our future, we suddenly see that faith has deep, rich resources to bring to bear on the conversations, the questions, the challenges of our future. So that's what I hope that you can get out of a lot of the conversations we have today. Whether you're secular or religious or questioning or somewhere in between, what I hope is that by engaging the questions of our future, you are able to come away seeing the significance and relevance of faith to our future. Seeing the significance and relevance that we have in the world for faith. And so again, thank you so much for being here. I think these conversations are incredibly important, and I'm thrilled that you're here with us to help us engage them. So let's talk about some practical things. First of all, we want to connect, and so the whole reason for coming together in a space like Nashville, Tennessee, is so that we can connect with each other in a lot of ways. We also want to connect digitally, and so you can engage with our Facebook community, facebook.com/Christian Transhumanism. That's our page. It will get you connected to our Facebook group where people engage this stuff all the time. We also are on Instagram, Christian Transhumanism, and on Twitter as XEND Plus, because Twitter has some length requirements that make that a little bit difficult. So that's our account at Twitter, and you can follow along with that, as well as our hashtag for this conference. So engage with this stuff. We want to hear like the quotes and the questions that you have for our speakers. We want to hear those things as we go throughout the day, so we'd love to engage with you around that. And so let's talk about one more thing. So our sponsors for today that help make this possible. Many of you have received Thrivus products, the Human Enhancement Company. So this is one of our significant sponsors. We're also sponsored by Project Voice, the leading AI and voice tech conference, the Mormon Transhumanist Association, our friends over there, and Ask and Wonder, bringing Christians and non-Christians together. And I want to talk about some of the people who are going to help us go through these conversations today. So first up, we have Pedro Garcia, who leads the Ask and Wonder and has an incredible career and interesting story, and with a picture like this is a transhumanist if ever there was one. And we have Patrick Chappelle, who's a podcaster, a Nashvilleian, and a music aficionado. He hosts the Patrick podcast, except when I take it over. And then we have Neil Locke, who is a Presbyterian pastor and a musician, instrumentalist of instruments both new and old. So last year he opened up the Christian Transhumanist Conference with a bagpipe solo, and this year he did it with a theremin. So, and finally we have Mike Morrell, who is the best-selling author of The Divine Dance with Richard Rohr, and an enlightened being who is sent to bless us with his wisdom, and a great friend. And I'm incredibly thankful for these people being here to help us go through these conversations. So with that, let's turn it over to Pedro.